Okay, everyone, so let's go through the syllabus for Meda 110, Medical Terminology for the summer of 2020. This will cover, I have two online courses this summer, so the course numbers are 30837 and 30838. So the only difference on the syllabi will be the course numbers, but they will be the same for both classes. Okay, I'm Professor Penrod, and my email is listed here, tpenrod@sdccd.edu. If you're going to email me with a question, no problem. Just please include which CN you're in, and that just helps make it a little bit easier when I'm trying to go through. Eventually, I know everybody, but in the beginning, it's a little bit tough. I'm trying to add as many people as I can, so I may have 120, 130 students over the summer. So please include your CN number if you email me. I'm going to be checking emails twice a day, usually somewhere between 9 and 10 in the morning, and then again at 7 at night, and that's Monday through Friday. I probably won't be checking my emails over the weekend. So if you email me late Friday, then I might not get back to you till Monday sometime. Okay, so just kind of bear that in mind. We're not going to be on campus over the summer, so there won't be any office hours. I may try to set up some Zoom office hours, so I will be in touch with you during the first week to see if I can find an hour or two during the week where I could set up a Zoom kind of situation where if you needed to talk to me, we could do that. So I will let you know the first week once I get that set up. And let's move down a little bit. All right, so the 23rd is going to be the last day to receive and process an ad code. And then the withdrawal deadline will be July 17th. Okay, after that point, we have to assign a grade. Okay, so the objectives here, I mean, normally this is a 3-hour lecture course, and it's 3 units, and it is grade only. All of prefixes, suffixes, combining forms, and as well as a lot of basic anatomy. We will also delve into some pharmacology, radiology, and so there's quite a bit to do during this particular summer session. The student learning objectives are listed at the bottom, and realize that this book is kind of special because it doesn't just include prefix, suffixes, and combining forms. It also includes, as I kind of mentioned in my introduction video, a lot of definitions that aren't necessarily medical terms that you can break down, disease process, an introduction to disease processes, some of the lab and diagnostic procedures that are done. And so this book is kind of encompassed as far as being able to give us an introductory overall view into anatomy and physiology and pathophysiology, which is also one of the a course that generally needs to be taken at some point after medical terminology. Okay. You can email me, or you can do an announcement through Canvas that will also get to me, and I will do everything I can to get back to you within a day or two, 24 to 48 hours. You can definitely email me over the weekend. I just won't necessarily be looking at emails as routinely as I do during the week, and so if it is late Friday or Saturday, I might not get back to you till sometime on Monday. Okay. So as being online, there's going to be PowerPoints that will be available to you, as well as the book, and I'll get to the book in just a little bit. There are discussion boards as well that are within Canvas, and those discussion boards are designed to have the students do a little bit of research on an updated topic and then have a chance to communicate back and forth with students, okay? And so we will be using homework exams as well as discussion boards for most of the points that are based on this class. And our book is listed right here, Betty Davis Jones. It is the 5th edition. It really is important. I know this is underlined saying by the second week of class. However, the first week, the very first Sunday, we actually have a test on the chapters 1 through 4. We have to move very quickly in the summer session, and so it's really highly recommended to be able to get the book within the first couple of days, because otherwise you're going to be behind. And so it's very, very fast paced, and so I really highly recommend that you get the book before the second week. because otherwise you're going to be scrounging to catch up with 4 chapters that we cover in the first semester, and then we hit 3 chapters next week. So staying on top of this class is very important. Okay. All right, so there will be 7 weekly exams. So at the end of each week, we will have an exam. There will be 3 to 4 homework assignments that are due on the chapters that we're covering. All of the homework will be due on Saturday night. The tests will be done by Sunday night, okay? And so that gives you a chance to kind of go through and get the homework done, and then it'll give you Sunday to study before you actually, if you want to take the test earlier, that's fine, no problem. But you will have to make sure that it's taken by 11:59 p.m. on Sunday night, okay? This kind of goes through the points. The homework is worth 5 points each, so each individual homework per chapter is due. And there is there's 5 points of extra credit at the end for an exit feedback survey. That will be the only extra credit possible in this class. For the most part, we don't utilize extra credit. This is an important foundation course for our allied health professions, and so it's not one of those classes that we tend to delve out extra credit for. Okay, and I do have people that ask that, and I understand the need and desire for extra credit, but because this is a foundation course for so many allied health care professions, it's not something that extra credit is really offered. Okay. The other points will come from the discussion board. The discussion boards, like I said a little bit earlier, are designed as a way to do a little bit of research into some important topics that we deal in the healthcare profession, hypertension, diabetes. It gives you guys as a student the opportunity to do a little bit of research, making sure that we actually post a scholarly source. And a scholarly source would be something like JAMA, the Journal of Academy of Medical Association, the AAMA, NIH, National Institute of Health, Mayo Clinic is common, and Hopkins, I can't even speak. So anything where we've got, it's not just WebMD, it's got to be some sort of a source that's from a well-noted medical source, okay? And so we do request that you have one of those along with the information that you post, and that that original post is going to be due by Wednesdays, okay, at 11:59. And then you'll need to go back in after you do your original post and then look at some of the other students, read through their posts, and then just make some comments on at least 2 other students' posts. And so that needs to be done by Saturday at 11:59. So you will have to go into discussion boards twice that week, once by Wednesday, and then again to go back in and read your classmates and comment on the classmates' post by 11:59 on Saturday. Okay. We don't, if something happens and you get behind, it's difficult to go back in and reopen these discussion posts, so I won't go back in. If you miss it, you've missed it, and I can't go back in and redo it. Okay, so please try to make sure in order to get full credit for this, you have to do your initial post by Wednesday at 11:59, and then you have to do 2 more posts by Saturday. The posts need to be enough length that we're looking at least 4 to 5 sentences for your original post, plus a scholarly source, and then at least 3 to 4 sentences response. We can't just have thumbs up or great job or something like that. We need to actually comment on your fellow students' posts. So they do have to be positive remarks, but also lengthy enough that we're not just writing a couple of words, okay? There is a rubric in there that is listed. Full points is having your original post by Wednesday, 2 positive posts by Saturday to classmates, and making sure that they're both done on time, and a scholarly source is listed. If we don't do all of those things, then there will be less than full credit given, okay? And I mentioned the tests up here. We'll go backwards. The tests will vary. The points are not all the same. And so each of these tests is timed. And so generally what I try to do is give you guys about 45 to 50 seconds per question. So the time for each test will vary depending on how many questions there are. My on-campus classes generally have 80 to 100 questions and they get 60 minutes. And so the time is going to be up according pretty close to that, as far as about 45 to 50 seconds per question. This is what I do on campus and what I will maintain and follow through on as far as online goes as well. I know a lot of people don't like the time constraint, but you guys, that's part of the academic integrity that goes along with taking an online course, is that there has to be a time constraint, especially when we're dealing with something that's very terms based. So the time limit isn't meant to be strict or stressful. If you were in class, you would also have a time limit. So it's just unfortunate that it's kind of time ticking away when you're on Canvas. There is a way to hide the clock. When you go in to take an exam, you'll see that the clock does tick on the right-hand side, but you can hide it. And so if if that stresses you, go ahead and just, cancel it out. But once again, the time limits aren't meant to be stressful. It just has to be a little bit of accountability as far as timing wise goes. Okay. All right. There is one final exam. It's 190 points. It is cumulative, and that is basically that's the only test that is due on Saturday. All the other tests are due on Sunday, but because the end of the semester is Saturday night on August 8th, that will be when the test will be due by. So that's the one test that's due Saturday and not Sunday. Okay. It's 190 points. It is cumulative. Um, the one thing that I will mention with the summer, we do get cut short. And so there are chapters 16 and 17, which is on male and female reproductive system. You aren't going to have a specific test on just that, but there will be there'll be homework the last week um, of the course. And then some of those questions will be on the final, but you're not going to have a separate test for that because there really isn't enough time. Okay. So just be wary that there is going to be homework due that last week. That'll be on chapter 16 and 17. And although there's no isolated test on just those two chapters, there will be information from those two chapters on the final. Okay. And it's really important that we take this final on time. I know that there had been a lot of instances where things had come up this past semester in the spring with COVID. But because the fall semester starts so quickly, we need to make sure that we get the grades posted within a day or two so that people can be able to move on to take courses. And this is an important prerequisite. So we need to make sure that we get that final done on time so that I can post grades within a day or two after completing. Okay. We do follow this grading scale basically across the board. This is the way all of our allied health professions have their grading scale set up. 100 to 90% is an A, 89.99 to 80% is a B, and then so forth all the way down. We don't generally round up, and once again, that's kind of just a model that we kind of go through as far as all of our allied health prerequisites and our allied health courses. And once again, the other thing with this class is we don't really offer any extra credit. Okay, so I do get questions about that. And once again, it isn't meant to be mean or stern. It's just meant to try to keep things at a standard with some set standards because it is such an important prerequisite course for our allied health professions. Okay. All right, this kind of goes through and breaks down the homework, how much homework is there, and what the points are. There is the one little extra credit here for 5 points at the end with the exit feedback survey. Okay. Now, as we go through here, you can see the outline and scope. There's a lot of stuff that we cover here. And so it isn't just prefixes, suffixes, and root words. It actually gets into anatomy and physiology, some pathology, lab tests, clinical procedures. There are a lot of different things included. And so that does make this course sometimes very content heavy. But once again, it is very doable. The homework is designed more to focus in on the prefixes, suffixes, and root words, but realize that the tests are going to broaden out a little bit, are going to include some of the disease processes, anatomy, and some of the diagnostic procedures that we talk about as well. So bear that in mind, okay? So this just kind of goes through all of the things that are involved there. The Canvas participation is important. Okay, if you don't log in within the first 7 days, you are considered a no-show. Okay, and this is a very rapid course, and so if you get more than a week behind, it's very difficult to catch up. Okay, if you miss 2 consecutive weeks, then we're going to, presume that you're no longer there, and then I will drop you. Okay, and once again, we have to be a little strict with that because this course is very content heavy and it's tough to keep up if you get behind. Okay. All right. Okay. So um, it is very important to make sure that you're doing the reading in the book. I know a lot of people try to use Google and use some outside sources, and I can generally tell because a lot of times the outside sources with certain terms and definitions actually give a slightly different definition. And so I can generally tell if you're using the book or if you're using an outside source. So please make sure that you either get the ebook or you get the textbook. And I do understand that it's a little bit expensive. Once again, the ebook is a cheaper alternative, but it really is important going forth with this because our testing is based off the book, not from outside Google sources. Okay. And so please make sure that you get that as quickly as possible. All right. The other thing we have to discuss too is being online. Online integrity and academic integrity is very important. And so um, making sure that you take this course by yourself, that you're not using the book or any outside sources while you are doing your testing is important. It is Every student that takes the test also creates what's called a view log. And the view log gives the person who's reading it information as far as whether that person leaves the site, how long it takes them to answer a question when they actually do answer the question. So it is evident when students stop and take 2 or 3 or 4 minutes to do a test question, or if they're constantly leaving the site and using other sources. So we can see that via Canvas. So it is important to realize that using outside sources, even though you are on an online course, is considered cheating. Okay. And so if I can tell that you are constantly leaving the Canvas site, I will have to remind you that that is not considered academic integrity. That is cheating. So no phones, no book, and no Google or outside sources while you're taking the test. Obviously, doing homework and working with other people in that respect is fine, but it really is important to make sure that when you take your test, you have undivided time so that you don't get interrupted or have to, take too long during the test. And once again, I can tell by the student's view log how long it takes them to answer questions. And if it's taking 2 to 3 minutes per question and it's pretty consistent, then it's evident that people are using outside sources. Okay. Within Canvas, there is a way to flag a question. If you're not sure about something, you can always flag it, and that's sort of at the top left-hand corner. If you click on that, it'll flag it, and then you can go back and answer it later if you can't, quite decide on an answer and you have to think about it. But I really want to stress the importance of no outside phones, no outside iPads, no book using, none of those things while you are taking the test. Okay. Certainly when you're doing homework and studying things, that's fine. And you can certainly do that when you're doing your discussion boards. Okay. Because that's part of it, but not while we're taking the exams. Okay. Okay. So when we're looking at study tips for this course, it really is like learning a foreign language. And so there's different ways of securing that. You can do flashcards. A lot of people will write repetitively or rewrite things frequently or use disease processes that help you remember certain terms. And so there's, everybody's a little different. Some people are visual, some people are auditory, some people are kinesthetic. And so what you're going to have to kind of do is find out what works for you, um, because once again, we are dealing with lots of terms. And so finding someone to study with can be helpful, finding acronyms to describe certain things or help you remember things. The other thing is that I have folders set up on Quizlet. If you go to Quizlet.com and put in my username, which is TracyDrees13, I actually do have some folders set up. So what I will do is go ahead and put that in an announcement to you guys so that you can get into that. But that is a very good resource. I put all of the chapters in there except 16 and 17. Everything else has its own Quizlet, and so it gives you a chance to quiz yourself. You can Google Quizlet.com or Quizlet, medical term Quizlet, and it'll give you a whole host of different things. So there's a bunch of stuff out there. Sometimes in the beginning, if you just do any Googled site, sometimes you're going to come across some stuff that maybe you haven't seen yet. But I do have my own Quizlet, and so I'll give you the username, and if you search the username, you can pop up the folders that I've created. Okay. If you do have DSPs services, you have to let me know as soon as possible. We don't have much time to get things set up for that, so I need to know as soon as possible if you have any DSPs, any accommodations, and you need to get me those sheets, email me those sheets as soon as possible. Okay. Okay. There's some important dates in here as well too, and some important links. The other thing that's within Canvas is all of the textbook review questions have answers to them, and they are listed, and it's specified just as that. All you have to do is click on it within Canvas, and it will open up all of the answers to the back of the book, and that's a good way to test yourself as well. Okay. There are some tutoring services as well. The MTC, there will be an area within Canvas that you can click on if you need to try to access some tutoring. Okay. All right, and then as we come through here, this is our schedule, and once again, it's pretty crammed because we're in the summer and we have to cover the same amount of material in 8 weeks that we normally cover in the spring or fall in 16. Okay. Um, so I highlighted some things that are important. This first week right here is a lot. Okay. We have 4 chapters that we have to go through. There are videos that are listed within Canvas as well, video disc 1, 2, 3, and 4, and there's multiple different sections within each disc. Some people like them. They're a little dry and a little bit boring, but some people like to see it. And so there are multiple body sections within each disc. That's why there's only 4 discs. But if you go through and you need that auditory reinforcement, that would be a way to help you out. Okay, and those are listed under Canvas, under videos 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so like I said, all of the homework will be due on Saturday nights. So it'll tell you the dates here, and then the tests are due on Sunday. Okay. And so week 1, we are covering chapters 1 through 4. Once again, very important basic foundation chapters as we move forward. If you don't get these down, it can be tough as we move forward. The second week, we'll be covering chapters 5, 20, and 22. So we cover the skin, and then we kind of jump to the radiology and diagnostic imaging and pharmacology. So this is a tough week too, okay? All right, and so there will be a homework assignment for each one of these. Same thing here. There's 3 homework assignments in week 1, 3 homework assignments in week 2, and then most of the others are 2, I think, if we go down. Okay. Some of them have 20 questions, some have 40. So make sure you scan down and check, because the assignments that come through, they're mostly prefixes, suffixes, and combining forms. But please make sure you check, because some of them are single page with 20, others there are 40. Okay, so just make sure you scan down and take a look and make sure that you've gotten the full assignment so you know what you're doing. Okay. Discussion post will be week 2. We'll have a discussion post here. And I will email you probably Wednesday to remind you that it's due, and then I'll probably send out another email probably on Friday or Saturday to remind everybody about the homework and tests as well. Okay, so we have a discussion post week 2, week 3, then we get a little break here for week 4, and then week 5 and week 6 we have 2 more discussion sessions or discussion posts, and then we have 1, week 5, I think, as well. I have to check. All right, so just make sure that we don't forget about those. And then here is the very end where we actually have these 2 chapters, male and female reproductive systems. There is homework there, but there will be no official test. This information, however, will be included in the final, okay, but no actual specific test for that, okay? All right, so we'll go back up to the top. So that was just kind of, I didn't cover everything within there. Please make sure you read through it. There will be an area at the end of this week. There's an area in the module that says agreeing to the syllabus, and basically you just need to copy it or type your name in saying that you've read through and you understand and you agree to everything that we discussed in the syllabus. Okay. All right, so I think that's it. So once again, the information at the top here, my email is here. If you have any questions or concerns, I will put my username for the Quizlet into the announcement so that you know kind of what to do. There are some help numbers as well through Canvas. So if you're struggling to use Canvas, there is a help number, and I'll include that as well that you can call. And then there is 24/7 help that students can access if they're having problems with it, okay? All right, so I'm gonna bug out now, and thanks for listening. Make sure we fill everything out, and let's have a great semester, okay?